Hey nerds, this is JNL here, and today we have a deck tech on the deck that 1. Carried me to Worlds, 2. Has League Explorer in it, and 3. Got me to Masters in the fastest time that I know of. Today we have Skycrag Aggro. So if you want to learn more about this deck beyond the deck tech, be sure to check out other videos on the channel. Also, like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Skycrag Aggro is basically as low to the ground and as efficient as a deck can get. You aim to curve out with a 1 and 2 drop on the first 2 turns and finish your opponent in the next 2 to 4 turns with efficient attacks and burn to the face. The star of the deck is definitely League Explorer though. Be sure to stick around to the end if you want to learn about advanced tips and guides to matchups and mulligans. The removal we have in the deck is very cheap and or flexible. Permafrost is strong removal that is difficult for opponents to work around. Torch kills anything with less than 3 health, including blockers post-combat, and it can go face. The last piece of removal we have in our deck is a Swiss Army knife of sorts. Compared to Torch, Blazing Salvo is a lot less efficient, but the market access it gives us is valuable. From this one card we can access Seer for more burn or removal, Backlash to negate board wipes and other pesky spells, Slag for Relic and Sentinel hate, and Torrential Downpour to deal with tokens. The last card in our market is not accessed by Blazing Salvo, but rather by hitting the enemy face with an empty hand. Invasive Species can generate a lot of value through chip damage or by acting as an attacker to trigger tandem with D'Angelo Houndmaster. It also combos very well with Auto Tread.
Yeah, I mean, I just sort of assumed we were going to hold on to something else, not the Builder's Decree. But if that was the plan, it made sense for what Old Rich did. We see the invasive species forced to attack.
Well, you talked about the invasive species forced to attack, but then pitching with the auto tread means you just get it back.
That combo is fantastic. I mean, it's not like it's the best thing in the world, but the fact that you sort of like your invasive species never dies, is like you're really doing a thing to like take advantage, get rid of one of the biggest drawbacks of the card.
The 3-drop slot is the most complicated part of the deck and definitely the one that gets changed the most. If there are a lot of decks running board wipes that come out on turn 3 or later, I'd run more Iron Ursas. If there are decks that get out efficient blockers early, more Sanity Scorchers are preferred. And if you don't want to care about what your opponents are playing, then just play Milos. Oh, and a side note, try not to touch the power base, it's basically perfect. 12 of the power in here turn into a unit sometimes, and that really helps fix Flood. Now it's time for them advanced tips and guides. Tip number 1, mulligan well. And don't worry, I'll give you the guide real soon. Tip number 2, counter damage every turn so you don't miss lethal. This is a good habit worth building for every deck, because even a Worlds competitor such as myself can miss lethal with such a simple deck. Tip number 3, plan out your kills 2 to 3 turns in advance. This helps you not miss them, and helps you formulate a game plan and think about your opponent's outs. For matchups, you're basically always hitting face. Versus control, you think and play around AoE, and versus midrange, you think and play around their blockers. The mirror matchup is a value matchup and it's a bit complicated. Whoever can get more value out of their hand and stick a board will win 80% of the time. As for the mulligan, don't keep hands with 4 or more power, unless if you have a way to convert them into damage, like Auto Tread. Try to find a 1 into a 2-drop hand with 2 to 3 power. Hands with 2 to 3 power and 3 to 4 2-drops are also keepable. Here are some gameplay videos with in-depth analysis. Be sure to check them out if you want to level up your game and become a mega nerd. And as always, see ya nerds!